There's a kind of wartime brilliance that doesn't just whisper, it grabs you by the collar and pulls you straight into the firelight. The kind of ingenuity born when survival depends on outsmarting both nature and the enemy. And if you're part of the prepper's survival blueprint, tribe, you're about to unlock one of the smoothest stealth survival secrets that came out of World War II. Stick around, and if you're not already subscribed, you'll feel the itch to hit that button once you realize how powerful this knowledge really is. World War II forced people into situations where warmth meant staying alive, but smoke meant getting caught. A single thread of grey drifting upward could bring planes, scouts or shells. Fire, our oldest friend, became a double agent, but human ingenuity? That became the real battlefield advantage. Soldiers, resistance fighters, stranded patrols, and civilians living under blackout rules found a way to turn fire back into a friend without the giveaway signals. They invented a way to create heat with almost no visible smoke. A fire that stayed quiet, clean, nearly invisible. A fire that could burn for hours without betraying your position. And today, with safer modern materials, the underlying principles still matter. For stealth camping, grid-down warmth, emergency cooking, or simply expanding your survival toolkit with knowledge that stood the test of war. In survival settings, smoke isn't just a nuisance, it's a broadcast signal. During World War II, it acted like a glowing arrow pointing straight at you from miles away. Whether you were in a forest, hiding in a ruined building, or dug into snow-covered terrain, smoke could expose everything you worked to protect. Soldiers learned quickly that fire wasn't dangerous because of the flame. It was dangerous because it talked. And smoke only happens when fuel burns inefficiently. When combustion can't finish its job. That's the enemy. The more incomplete the burn, the more smoke you get. Wartime survivors didn't have textbooks, but they sure had motivation. And from that motivation came a clever workaround. The key to the wartime method was simple. Use fuel that burns cleaner, hotter, and more completely than wood. Instead of tossing branches onto a flame, people began using materials that vaporized into cleaner burning gases under heat. Charcoal became the carbon base. Fats and waxes became the energy-rich sources that burned with a steady, efficient glow. Stabilizers helped maintain shape and regulate burn time. By controlling how the fuel burned, they controlled the visibility of the flame. That's the heart of it. Efficient combustion equals less smoke. You can understand this principle the same way you understand the difference between a campfire and a candle. One smokes like a signal flare. The other burns almost invisibly unless you're standing right next to it. This wasn't some factory-made marvel. It was a pure survival improvisation. People in hiding needed something small, something transportable, something predictable. They used mess tins, tin cups, carved stones, or, honestly, whatever they had to form the fuel mixture. The result was a compact, slow-burning heat source, something that could boil water, warm hands, heat food, or help people endure frigid nights without a plume of betrayal rising above the trees. Some resistance groups buried caches of these heat sources in dry spots. Soldiers carried them in cloth wraps. Civilians kept them ready in barns, caves, or old cellars. They were the perfect wartime multi-tool, part heater, part stove, part lifesaver. Here's where it gets valuable for today's survivalists. You don't need to replicate dangerous wartime improvisation, you know. You don't need raw animal fat or makeshift compounds. Instead, you can apply the principle safely using clean, commercially available materials. The science is what matters. When you control combustion, you control smoke. Clean-burning carbon sources paired with clean-burning waxes or oils produce heat with minimal visibility. This is actually the same concept behind modern survival tabs, emergency stoves, and compact burner fuels. For grid-down situations, stealth camping, or indoor emergency heating with proper ventilation, understanding why low-smoke fuel works gives you an edge. It means you're not relying on giant bonfires to boil water or heat a shelter. You have options based on chemistry, not chance. In a world full of high-tech gear, the old ways still have sharp edges. Wartime methods stick around because they worked under extreme pressure. Pressure that today's preppers might face in grid-down disasters, long-term outages, or wilderness retreats where visibility can compromise safety. A heat source that doesn't scream your location? That's tactical advantage. A compact fuel block that lasts hours? That's survival efficiency. A deeper understanding of how to create heat without attention? That's the prepper's blueprint at its finest. WWII. Survivors didn't have luxury. They had grit. And sometimes grit teaches better lessons than any gadget on a store shelf. This secret WWII fire trick isn't just a relic of the past. It's a reminder that survival is equal parts knowledge, resourcefulness, and calm under pressure. If you're building your personal blueprint for resilience, this kind of history-driven technique is exactly the kind of tool worth carrying in your mental rucksack.